It's time for the Ravagers to rise once again to glory!
You are listening to The Ravager Report, a FoxNext Marvel Strike Force podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news, information, and updates. With your hosts, Dorian.
It is a name what strikes fear into the hearts of anyone what hears it!
And Hebrew Hammer.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of The Ravager Report. I am your host, Dorian, and with me as always is the mighty Hebrew Hammer. Hebrew, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. So, before we begin, I want to give a huge shout out to, we've got a new patron this week, Sky. Thank you, Sky, for joining us. And we also want to give a big shout out, obviously, to all our patrons. Without you guys, we would not be here. If you're just joining us and you do like what you hear and would like to support us, you can find us at patreon.com/Ravager Report, where we have subscriptions ranging from $2 all the way up to $20 with various offers there. So if you do, just let us know. You'll get access to our exclusive patron channel on our Discord, direct access with Hebrew and myself, though we're pretty active on the Discord anyway. And speaking of which, if you would like to join our Discord, you can do so at discord.me/Ravager Report. And remember, that is a web URL. That is not a Discord invite. So put it into a web browser to get invited into the Discord. All right. So we've got a lot to talk about this week. Hebrews, anything big happened this week for you? I mean, in game, I mean, it's been a pretty quiet week, right?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I've just had everything I've ever worked for shattered, so yeah, there's that.
I mean, it all came up roses. But before we get into everything, why don't you let us know, outside of yesterday, just so everybody knows, we do record live on Fridays, so you can join us on our Discord to listen live if you like. So we had the big update that came out on Thursday. Hebrew, how was your week up until yesterday?
My week was pretty good. I just got Super Smash Brothers, so I'm pretty excited about that. I've been playing that. I'm a huge Smash fan. Been waiting for it to come out. So yeah, I have that. That's good. By the way, if anyone is really good at Super Smash Brothers, I'm totally willing to battle you online. So just let me know your information, and I'll get with you. But also, I had a weird thing happen today. Was going to talk to Dorian about it off air, but I just figured whatever. People might find it funny or insightful in some cases, if you're potentially an idiot like me. So I'm pretty young, and I have two credit cards. One I have never touched. It's just meant for emergencies, basically, right? And then I have a Best Buy credit card that I opened up about 3 years ago. Whenever I got a Mac, an iMac desktop, 27-inch, top of the line. It's $3,000 something. And I opened up a card for it because it was 3 years, no interest. And then I found out it was 3 years as of a few days ago. I didn't realize that.
Oh God, you got interest from day one. Yeah, you get 3 years of interest.
I had no idea. I thought 3 years, no interest meant after 3 years. After 3 years, then you start accruing interest.
God, yeah, brother. Oof. Don't ever believe anybody that tells you that the credit card, So I bought a couch, and I was talking to the lady, and it turns out it was a Wells Fargo account, and I opened up a Wells Fargo furniture account or whatever. And I was like, because it was a 12 months, same as cash. And I was like, okay,
right.
Because I've have experience with a lot of credit cards. And I was like, okay, so is this an interest accrual from day one, or is this an interest accrual from, day 365? And she goes, oh yeah,
right.
If you don't get it paid off in a year, interest only accrues off the unpaid balance. I'm like, that sounds really too good to be true. So I read the fine print, and I was like, no, ma'am. The interest actually starts on day one. It just you don't have to pay it as long as you pay it off by day 365. So yeah, you're screwed.
Go ahead. speaking to that, actually, so I used to work for Best Buy myself, back when I
Oh
was
yeah,
like
join the club, man.
17. Yeah. Okay. So, and they never taught us, like, I sold the credit cards myself there, and they
Oh yeah.
never told us that.
Well,
And
no.
that's what they do. They just kind of blindly, like, here, just highlight all this good shit and then hand them a pamphlet and say, that's that.
Oh yeah.
But
That's
so I'm sure that the guy, I hold nothing against the guy that didn't tell that to me, but so there's a good side to the story too. So whenever I saw my charge come in, because I've always paid on time, I have it on auto pay, no big deal. I assumed that it would just be, I would finish paying up and it would start accruing interest now, which was fine because it had like $800 left or so, and I would just keep doing my monthly payments and I would just bump up the monthly amount. But no, instead, I saw that now I am having to pay like $150 a month or something, and I have like $3,500 or so. And I'm like, what the hell? It just happened. And so I called up. I was furious. I thought someone was charging stuff on my account. And then they told me what happened. I was like, what? And so I hung up the phone and I called my mommy and I said, is this a thing? And she was like, and because I was like, and it was the same reaction as you. So it was like this kind of like, yeah, like, duh, that's a thing. Because I started going into the story and she basically finished my sentence for me. She's like, yeah, that's a thing. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I thought that it just started accruing afterwards. And she's like, no. And I asked all my friends and stuff like that. And all of them, like everyone that's around my age, thought it was the same way as me too. So it's like no one around my age seems to really know. I guess it's something that you either learn or like pay really close attention to. But
yeah, we're so real quick personal story. Sorry guys, I know you guys love these. When my wife and I got together, I didn't give two fiddles about my credit, right? So my credit was probably in like the 300s, maybe the 400s if we were lucky when she and I got married. We had to put basically everything in her name because she had stellar credit. It has taken, so I have learned how to manage money or let my wife manage money. No, I'm very glad to look. So I'm really good at math. I'm a pretty bright guy. For some
don't go
reason,
off on too many stories.
I just don't care about the value, the like a dollar, right? Because
right.
She's like, man, this is $150. I'm like, yeah, it's only $150. So there's two different worldviews on stuff. But through diligence and hard work and everything, was able to finally get my credit score up into like the 750, 770, somewhere between 750, 770. I haven't checked it in a while, but so because of my past experience and her past experience, and then the two of us, growing together, we are very, very, very diligent about teaching our kids about finances and making sure they understand how this stuff works. Because I think one thing that was a huge mistake for schools to do was pull like home ec and what life sciences out of schools, because they taught kids like how to handle a checking account. I never learned how to balance a checkbook. I did not know how to do that until I was 22 or 23.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, and I mean,
I also never use a check in my life, so I don't I don't know.
Well, I'm also twice your age, so
yeah. Well, so let me go ahead and hop
finish your story.
To the good side of that. So I was freaking out because I was like, I don't, if I really need something, luckily I'm fortunate enough that my parents would always, take care of it, but I didn't want to do that. So, I was like, okay, I called them back up and I was like, hey, look, obviously, the angle of, well, I didn't know wasn't going to work because apparently that's a thing. It's not like a thing that's specific to Best Buy credit cards. It's just a thing.
No,
which should be illegal because I think it's both.
It's not a thing, dude. It's the thing.
Well, yeah.
It's not a thing. It's the thing.
Yeah, I think it's so ridiculous. It should be illegal. But
well, I could regale you with the history of credit cards. They were a mob venture, and they were a mafia based venture. So yeah, I could regale you with stories, but that's not this show.
Well, then, so for the rest of it, basically, I called up and I was just like, hey, my payment wasn't due until tomorrow. And I was like, look, I was planning on paying it off the full amount before this upcoming bill, I thought that it was going to be applied, like I just had to do it before my next bill, and then I would have been fine. And they were like, no, that's not how it works. And we were arguing back and forth for a little bit. And I was like, just give me your manager, because we started getting heated with each other. And so she got her supervisor, and I started talking to the supervisor for a little bit. And she eventually, like, I was super nice. And I was just like asking her about her day and stuff like that. First of all, I kind of swooned her a bit, and she reversed it. So I didn't have to pay that ridiculous amount as long as I paid it on the phone while I was on the phone with her, the rest of the amount that I had. And I was like, absolutely, here you go.
Here you go. You just saved me $2,700. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Look, here's another credit card. I'll put that on.
Yep. So, I mean, luckily I had the money in my savings, so I was fine with doing that, but I didn't want to touch my savings, but
right.
There was enough in there that it wasn't a problem. So
yeah, dude, before you buy anything, call me, please. Please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really,
Flip
really,
in chat says if you ever buy a house or a car, call your parents or call me.
Yeah,
if your parents are unavailable, call me. I'll look over the paperwork.
Well, yeah, if there's any issue, or if there's any time where I'm making a big purchase like that, like, I mean, I won't be doing it alone, at least for right now.
Just be careful on houses. I own 2, and you can get screwed really bad there.
Yeah, I'm not excited to step into that realm yet, but luckily I'm just still apartment renting. Not luckily, but I am still in that area. So
just to let everyone know, yes, you did hear that correctly. I do own 2 homes. However, I am so upside down in the first one, I can't sell it. It is currently in Cincinnati, and I live near Nashville. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not because I want to. It's because I'm so upside down, and it's such a decrepit area. I would take a huge hit to sell the house, and it's just not worth it.
Just to get rid of it.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be stupid.
All right. Well, this is that's pretty much it for my week. This has been Accounting with Hebrew and Dorian.
Yep. Thank you. Join us again next week as we teach Hebrew how to balance a checkbook.
So yeah, what about you? What did you get it to?
This week's been relatively quiet. I feel like there was some stuff in game that I wanted to talk about, but it all just kind of flew out the window, right?
Yeah.
I finally beat another node in Dark Dimension because all my defenders are now 6-star. Right? So that's really cool. Plus I got Spider-Man. So I get the defenders plus Spider-Man to run in Dark Dimension. So it's still a slog nightmare because they're only 6-star. I mean, Daredevil's 7-star, Spider-Man's 7-star, but Jessica and Luke's 7-star. But Jessica's only 6, and Iron Fist just hit 6. So it's still really hard because the bad thing about the defenders is they have no crowd control. So without somebody like Quake to slow people down or things like that, you really kind of lose that crowd control in these big, massive, long endurance fights. So they're fun though, and they're putting up some damage. So I'm at the Doctor Strange node now, so the 4th one. Other than that, I mean, we had the second half of FoxNext snapping its fingers yesterday. So, well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. Now, though, I think we're going to go ahead and move into our data mine for the week. So, one of these data mines, we actually got an email about in game, and this was not something that I was aware of, Heber, and I don't think you were either. The gold orbs are not permanent.
Yeah, I'm not. I keep hearing conflicting stories on that.
Well, there's an email in game right now that tells you it's temporary.
Right, I know, and I saw that, and that's why that leads me to think, now that it really is temporary, which is incredibly upsetting. But there was not only that, but we heard also from our contact that it was supposed to be permanent, or not that. All right, he said that he thought it was permanent. So we'll
unfortunately, we'll have to reach back out to him and see if we can't get some clarification on that. If we do, we'll let everybody know if we're allowed.
But I would move forward thinking that, yeah, it's if an in-game email comes, and in my mind that trumps what he told us the other day.
Yes.
So that leads me to believe that it is indeed temporary, which is incredibly upsetting. And it just adds to the problems that are going on right now.
Yeah, it really, really does. And of course, the ability orbs will have a new jackpot of 60 blue or purple ability mats, because that's what we need more of. The purples are nice. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm now at the point of just kind of playing with teams. So
yeah, but who's throwing down on ability orbs?
Right.
No one does it, so it's useless.
So here is where we get into the fun meat of the data mine. And remember, data mines are not 100% accurate. Take these with a grain of salt. Do not play in your game around them. This is just what we think is going to be happening. The Red Star Rampage Orbs. For 24 hours, face off against other players' teams to earn Red Star Orbs from milestones and rank rewards. Your Red Star's Rampage Blitz squads must have characters with 4 gold stars or higher. Be strategic. Your characters share the same cooldowns between the Orb Assault Blitz and Red Star Rampage Blitz. So this will run Sunday night to Monday. It's going to run at the same time as the Orb Assault Blitz for the premium and gold orbs, or premium orbs, premium and Blitz. Sorry. So they are now testing if we're going to play 2 blitzes at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you sound upset.
Man, I feel like in this game right now, I live in a state of upset. I'll be honest with you, I've hit a state of apathy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm sitting at, is that the decisions they're making in this game, the time crunches they're requiring of us, you know, because you can't do this game solo. This is not a solo game. You have to be an alliance. And the only way your alliance is going to succeed is if you put in your effort. Unless you're in a casual alliance. I can't do that. I can't just do a casual alliance where you just kind of do, because I want to advance and grow. But man, the amount of time that this game is requiring is just insane. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's not really the difference is, though, with this, it's not really you do both. It's actually like the opposite.
Well, you do one or the other, but
right, you do one or the other.
But you have to. So this is going to really hurt the Orb Assault Blitz, because you have to take all your 4-star into the Red Star Rampage. The scores there are going to be astronomical. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. What I'm going to do, just because I hate blitzing, I'm sure people will optimize between both and be able to clear both, without too much of an issue. If they have, of course, this is for a character or someone who's been playing for a very long time. But I personally am just going to do the Red Star, because Red Stars are obviously far more valuable than premium orbs. But it's unfortunate that it's just kind of another thing that we're having to sacrifice in order to praise the Red Star god, pretty much. So yeah, I mean, it's annoying. I expected this to happen, so I'm not too shocked by it. And in a way, it's almost a little bit. How should I put this? This is difficult to put it. So it's a little bit of a low key relief that I have to pick between one or the other, because then I don't feel bad for not doing both. If I could do both, you know what I mean?
You know what? You're absolutely right, and I agree with that, because I wouldn't be upset if they ran multiple blitzes, as long as they all share the same timer and you have to decide.
Right.
So, we'll see how this goes.
I do think this is a gateway for them to run parallel blitzes, though. I do think that's coming in the future for other things. Yeah.
And that's very possible. And as I said, as long as it's a shared timer, it won't be problematic. And I have a feeling that they would not have made it a shared timer if it wasn't for save squads. But
I don't know. I don't think they would care.
You think that FoxNext wouldn't want you double blitzing if you could?
No,
Remember,
I mean,
more time in
wait.
game is more money spent.
Yeah, I'm saying I think that they would still do it regardless of the save squad system. Like, I don't think they care if you had easier access to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know,
It's
put your
not
teams together.
it's not for save squads. It's because of save squads. Because save squads, it would be problematic to show you, because save squads is kind of universal no matter what game mode you're in.
Yeah.
So it would be problematic for them to have the two separate timers. Because if you ever go into Blitz with save squads, you see the timers on there, and it could be problematic. So I'm not saying that is the reason, but I can see it, causing problems.
I would assume that would be pretty easy to code around, but maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not going to be facetious. I'm not going to be facetious.
I mean, there's still issues that I have constantly with the save squads where, I move to a different raid and my characters are still dead from the previous one and I have to force restart. But so that, there's still problems with that.
I just hate the fact that I go to save a squad that says you've reached your max, and I'm like, no, I'm at like 9.
Yeah.
I gotta, and then you just gotta exit out and hit it again. You don't have to force restart, thankfully, to fix that one. But, so yeah, that's kind of the data mine from yesterday going forward. Most of the other previous data mines from the week were around red stars, and that's already dropped. So we're gonna move into kind of the news of the day. I wanted, you can't really make it news of the week. Because a lot's happened in the past 24 hours. So it's really just kind of the news of the day this week, because it was really kind of quiet up until today. So, I've already mentioned the gold orb drop rate. It's only temporary. We are going to, try to get some more clarification around that and find out and see if they really meant it to say what they said, because as we all know, FoxNext not good with language. We're going to save the next one, and we're going to talk about, according to Reddit, I have not seen this yet. I think it was in one of the earlier nodes that I'm past. If you go into the Marvel campaign event or the Bendy Girl and the Witch event, apparently those are nigh on impossible right now because of Ultron. They obviously buffed Ultron, but they didn't fix him for these events.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't remember which node that was or if he was even there, but it sounds like if he is, that would make sense that he's incredibly hard and impossible to beat now. Not impossible to beat, but far more difficult to beat.
So I am seeing in chat that a report that they did fix it. If they did, then it's been, I guess, relatively recently. And so obviously we were prepping for the show. I've not had a chance to verify that. I've heard it. So according to the studio audience, it is fixed. I'm gonna trust what's being said here. Let's get into that then, shall we? Red stars. So you and I both kind of went off the deep end a bit about red stars. And I'll be honest, I think justifiably so. I think that the community at large has gone off on red stars, and I think justifiably so. I think there was some wording in their communication about it that really set some people off about, hey, thanks for your feedback to make this a wonderful system. And it came out and it just basically blew up the game. So I want to give red stars as fair a shake as possible. So we're going to talk about, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I believe it or not, there is at least one thing that I can think of. Well, two things now. So number one, red stars do make starring up characters important. Now you may not be happy about who you're having to do, and that's a completely different story. But it does make starring up to get that extra power level important. You don't just get it for having the red star. You actually have to get your character. So if I dropped I got a 3-star Loki in my pool last night, but my Loki's only 2 gold stars, so he's a 2-3 right now. So it behooves me to, even though Loki's not on my target list, it behooves me to rank him up to be able to use him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I still, one of my little asterisk that I would put next to that is the only reason why it is important on Red Stars now to want to level up, or I'm sorry, star up your characters, is because they're so broken. So
I will agree.
If they weren't as broken, then it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. I think that one of the bigger reasons to star up your characters is more like, Dark Dimension, things like that, or at least better reasons, I suppose.
I'm not going to argue that, but I'm saying that you can get through the game without playing Dark Dimension. You can.
Yeah.
Right. And the mode's been out for a couple of months now. There are people like myself who still haven't even completed it. So your eggs are done. So that if I played Dark Dimension, if I didn't play Dark Dimension, man, no skin off my back. So I don't care about that. Other than some legendary events and, like block party, things of that nature, as we've said in the past, yes, you do get increases for starring up your characters. However, the drive to do it has not really been there. Red Stars does kind of solve that a little bit. It does give you that better
I don't
incentive.
think Red Stars solves it as much as requires it, but yeah.
Well, and I think you're focused on one thing that I'm throwing into the bad, that we'll kind of get to, and that is the completely insane power levels.
Yes.
I think the other good thing about Red Stars is it will make these harder content, the current harder content game modes, more attainable. So you will see more people being able to do things like Ultimus 100%. Being able to complete maybe campaigns that they weren't able to complete before. That it will make that overall better. I think it's good that they are giving us, 5 free orbs every week just for logging in. Just log in 7 days, which we're all really going to do anyway. And you get 5 free orbs. That's something. That's good. But I think those 3 things are probably about it right now for me.
Yeah. Yep. That was being able to complete things from a raid standpoint. If your alliance hasn't been destroyed because of them, then yeah, I think that, that's a fair reason, being able to actually improve that content, because it's not competitive in the sense where you're competing against others. So yeah, I think that that's okay. Although I suppose at the end of the day, you are still going for the rewards for placements with your alliance. So I don't know. That has a competitive aspect too, I suppose. So I don't know.
Yes, it does. But honestly, since you and I have been around long enough that we remember the original reward scaling, it is so much better now than it used to be, and the distance between the top and the bottom is much less than what it was 6 months ago, which is a good thing. So you can help your alliance, and even if you're not able to complete everything as well as, let's say you don't have a Fury or you don't have a Defenders team, and you're not able to score 4, 5, 6 million points in a raid, you're not going to be left in the dust. And that to me is a good thing.
But here's, I think it's a double-edged sword though, really, because it's helping us clear Alt 6, right? It's helping us clear Alpha. It's helping us clear the current betas that we have. But this is, I have a very strong suspicion that this will also make things incredibly difficult later on.
So I wish,
because it's going to skew the perception of power level in the developers' eyes whenever they're creating new content that's far more challenging. It's going to totally destroy what is the appropriate difficulty, because it's going to be incredibly hard to gauge where people are at, because people are going to be all over the place with outliers, for 7 Red Stars.
Here's where data analytics is going to have to come into play for them, because we actually had this conversation in our alliance, and unfortunately Evan, my alliance leader, had to leave, but he had a great post in our alliance chat where we had this fear where I think I even brought this up, and he brought up a good point. They simply can't do that. Okay, obviously they can, but from a design perspective, they can't because of the way red stars work and the fact that they're double RNG. You cannot rely on red stars to boost the power of alliances enough to be able to complete new content. And doing so is just a mistake. And that will be the death knell of this game. If they require you to buy red star orbs to be able to complete content, the game's over. The game is absolutely over.
Okay, but that's the thing, is that I am thinking that they are going to do that. That's what I'm saying, because it's ridiculous that they would do that, but they've done so many ridiculous things that I think that that's what they're going to do. That's what my point was.
I think depending on who's making decisions now, I don't, and I apologize, I don't mean to cut you off, but I kind of want to get this out there. I kind of hemmed and hawed whether or not I was going to do this, but if you are unhappy, stop spending money. But don't let that be the only thing you do. Go to your Google store, go to your Apple store, give it a 1-star review. Rate it 1 star, give them a review and tell them why you're giving it a 1 star, and downvote it to oblivion. That's the only way you're going to make a difference. The spending strike that is going around, I don't believe is going to be as effective, because it's not going to reach everybody. But when you start downvoting a game, that starts affecting people that come in and go, ooh, that game's, like me personally, I don't touch a game that's got to get a 4.1 or a 4.2. If it's below a 4, I'm definitely not touching it. It just means it's horrible. Low ratings are very bad. Yes,
they absolutely are. But and I totally agree with that sentiment. I think that people should, especially right now, if you're not happy, which chances are you probably are not happy, you should. I think that you should stop spending, and I think that you should rate it with a 1 star. That's what I did for both, and I think it's the only way that we're really going to see change. I've also spoken to the person that did the previous Polygon articles, and we're talking, and it sounds like something's in the works. So, that would be nice. We'll see.
And look, I want to make it absolutely clear. This is not malicious. This is not me trying to get people fired. This is not me trying to get FoxNext to shut down. This is me letting our listening audience and anybody else that decides to pick it up, and if so, welcome, hello. The information that we have, which is they don't listen to us. They got community feedback. They decided to ignore it, basically. And the only way you're going to get them to be heard, it's not through an MPO survey. They'll keep doing them. They're great. And they are going straight to the devs, and they do see those. But we know that's not what the suits care about. They only care about the numbers that they can go to their investors with. And the only way you're going to affect change is through negative publicity and low app reviews.
Yeah, and I think that one of the bigger things that we need to be focusing on right now is I guess I'm not, as you said, I'm not trying to be malicious about it, but if people get fired because of this, I don't care. Like, they're not running this company responsibly.
Well,
this is turning it more into a gambling addicted game that focuses far more on RNG drops than actual gameplay. It's reversed over the past 24 hours of a strategy-based game with a small gambling aspect to now a gambling game with a small strategy aspect. Like, it's completely reversed the way that this game works, and it's terrible. And who's ever in charge of making these decisions needs to be fired.
Yeah, the problem is that the people in charge of making these decisions are usually the ones doing the firing, because it's never their fault. And it's usually now sometimes some people higher up than them will see the light, but typically the shit rolls downhill, right? So it's the people that are actually green lighting it that are the ones that are going to be busted for it, right? So
yeah, the people that are greenlighting it need to realize that they should not greenlight it.
but they're not. Okay, maybe greenlight was the wrong word. The people that are going, okay, we did what you told us to do. We have developed it to the best of our ability, following the specifications that you laid down for us. That's the guy that's going to get fired, not the guy going, hey, you know
I
what
don't
would be
think so.
great? This double RNG nightmare. That's a slot machine on top of a slot machine.
I think it's very possible that that person could be fired and would be fired. If I was above that person and I said, wow, this idea was terrible. Whose idea was this? It's this guy's. It's Charlie over there in the corner. Boom. Take him out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pull some experience here and tell you that doesn't happen. That's rarely what happens. That the higher ups are rarely the ones let go when they make those types of decisions, and it's your line. It is your lower level line people that are typically the first to go.
I think it depends. Go ahead.
I love you very much. You have no corporate experience in this. I'm sorry.
I've worked in a corporate ladder before, but I think that it's very plausible. It also only makes sense from a business standpoint that that's what you would do as a manager in charge. You would say, all right, what was the issue here? It was this person as the issue. All right, we will fix that issue by either reprimanding this person, telling them they can't do this anymore, or they fire them. So there's some things that need to happen. I mean, it does happen. I'm not saying that it happens every time, right? It certainly does happen, and it certainly increases the chances if they keep having the same issues over and over and over again. That's just how you run a proper business. I mean, if profits are your end game goal, which it is for every single company out there, that's how you run a successful company. You figure out what the problem is. That is how things
should run. That is how things should run. Unfortunately, in the real world, things don't always run that way. And Avenue Assassin, in our chat, he actually works in the industry or has worked in the industry. Mm-hmm. He may be current. I can't remember. Sorry, Avenue. I know we've talked about this in the past, but he's like, no one's getting fired. No one's getting fired for this. The managers made the decision all the way up to the top, and so it goes. These things follow an approval process that goes up to like in my company. I'm a software developer. I produce software for health insurance, or not health insurance, but for healthcare, right? We do like tests, exams, certifications, continuing education, right? So we want to educate and empower the healthcare providers and nurses and everybody else. So decisions are made at the director level and filtered down. Right. So a director may say, hey, we want a new application that does this. Well, it's up to the lower level people to maybe implement that or whatever. And it directors very rarely are going to get fired. The higher ups very rarely are going to get fired. It's typically going to be the lower level people that have that happen. They are the first to go.
Maybe it's and I'm not saying that they are the first to go, but after several failed attempts, they're going to start looking up. And
you're right. After several attempts, it will. You're absolutely right. After several attempts, but I'm saying it first.
I think we're at several attempts already. If this was the first thing, then I would agree with you. But we're at the point right now where there's a consistent problem, and it shows that it's further up. It's not being solved from firing the lower people. It's being caused by the people who are making the decisions. Yeah, I think there's always a person hired
starts at the top.
The CEO.
Hebrew. Okay, we're just going to agree to disagree, man. Look,
Tark just mentioned maybe whenever it gets to pink stars.
Look,
that's funny.
Look, Avenue agrees with me. Flip agrees with me. All right, 3 against 1. So,
well, that's still a small amount of people. But regardless, we're at an impasse on this. We won't agree, and maybe it's inexperience on my end. Sure, but I think as far as running a successful business, that's how you do it, and I think the majority of businesses probably work somewhere along that, even to the degree of, after being wrong several times, eventually implementing those changes properly. I think one way or the other, companies want to see profits, and they're going to do what they need to do until that happens, and they'll fire whoever needs to be fired in order to make that happen.
Now,
But anyways,
unfortunately, it never works out that way. But let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
We're still on red stars. We started with the good, so we had, it makes starring up sooner more important, makes focus starring more important. It does give you better chances of doing the raids. There was a third one. We got on tangent, and I can't remember what the third one was right now. But let's move to the bad.
Yeah.
For me, bad is the power levels that come with each successive star, going all the way up to 75% at 7 stars. There were pictures last night floating around of a 7-star Quake that was more tanky than my 7-star. So it was a 7-7 Quake,
Luke
or maybe
Cage.
a 7-6, but more tanky than my 7-3 Luke Cage, who is tier 11 or tier 12. That's insane. That I think that the power per level, the power per star is way too high, and I would not be surprised to see them bring it down. But I have heard through the grapevine, this is not from FoxNext, this is not from our contact, but from others that are supposedly in contact with FoxNext, that they are thinking about capping it at 35%, which I think is more manageable, but I know you disagree with that.
Yeah, I personally I knew going in that it was going to be a decent bit. I thought that a decent bit would have been 20%. I thought that it should have been capped at 20%. That was at the worst. So whenever we saw that it was capped at 75% for that 7th star, my jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I'm incredibly upset with that. I think 20 is a more reasonable number, considering it's 20% of your stats from everything that you've had so far, like everything that gives your character power. So yeah, I think that 20% is more than enough on that. And it would help kind of decrease the spikes of power that you'll see from people getting those 7 stars randomly, especially during the beginning when, we're not going to be seeing a lot of it. So yeah, I think that it would really help the power differential. It'll keep that same feeling of, oh my God, I got a 7-star. And you have that nice big power spike, but it's not going to be something that people can't defeat ever. You know what I mean? Now we're looking at characters that are one character is like half of my team power in some cases. That's ridiculous. No one's going to be able to take that thing down. And that's absurd. So 35% of an accumulative power increase is stupid. Even 35%. I think 20 is still stupid, but 20 is at least, I think it's at that, maybe even a little above, but whatever, I'll let it slide. It's at that sweet spot where it still provides that dopamine release of, oh my God, I got a 7-star and I'm super powerful now. But it's something that can still be overcome in an arena, in a blitz, things like that, like things that we can work with. So yeah, I just, the way it is right now at 75, it's never going to work. And 35, I think you're going to have a lot of problems. It's going to be obviously smaller than 75%, but I think it's still going to be too much of an issue. And we'll get into more of the reasons why, I think, in a minute. But yeah. Why do you think 35 is a good number?
So for me, it's, first of all, I don't think that they should be additive or multiplicative like they are. It should probably be maybe a base. But if they're stuck on this multiplicative, what I like about 35 is 7 stars, 5% per star. It makes the calculations a bit easier, and it lets you know what each level realistically is going to provide. Now, obviously, if we know the percentages, we'd be able to do that anyway. I don't know. I mean, you make some valid arguments, and I think I'm kind of locked on that 35, primarily because of OCD, and I like 5s. And so it makes sense on a I
think the best argument for the 35 is that it's still it still gives a big reason for whales to spend to try to hit that 35%, and that's what FoxNext wants. I don't think that it's reasonable from a competitive standpoint in the slightest bit, but I think that it's still that 35% satisfies what FoxNext really wants. So
yeah, and that's the thing.
I think that might be why we're seeing 35.
And Creative in chat talked about this too, that, you know, we may be upset with it. There may be a vocal minority that's upset with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom dollar. You know, we may hate red stars, but they may go, shit, we released this and man, we had 400,000 people buy that $1 1,000 core offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bought red stars with it. And I'm not gonna lie, I did. I did.
Anyone would have bought the $1,000 or the 1,000 core for 99 cents offer, which, by the way, I did not. So I just literally I'm so done spending on this game, I won't allow it.
Well, yeah, but you won't use vision for reasons. So yeah. I don't trust your decision-making abilities. I don't trust your decision-making abilities. You'll shoot yourself in the foot just to make a point. And congratulations. Point made,
what is that?
man.
What is that saying? Shoot yourself in the foot to spite your face or something? Because that's pretty accurate. As
cut off your nose to fight your space. Cut off your nose to spite your face. I cannot talk tonight, which is not good for a podcaster. So if they made a whole bunch of money, they're probably just going to see it as a success. Because these games go in cycles, and
it depends.
No, because we're coming up on an end of a quarter, right? It depends on how much they're gonna pump out this month.
Well, that's still it. I would say that it still depends, even because we're coming up on a quarter. If you see, it depends on what metric they value the most, and I think that superficially, the metric of money is the most obvious one, and I agree with you on that front. But if you look at player base, and we don't know any of these values, so it's all speculative. But if you look at player base, if player base drops dramatically, that's a huge issue as well, and that's another metric that is also very important because
it's much less of an issue. I'm afraid to say.
Well, I'm gonna get into why in a second. But if your player base drops dramatically, then you're gonna have a bit of an issue. Because if it keeps dropping, if it shows that it's going in a trend, especially a very bad trend, quickly, then you're going to be losing so many players that chances are your whales are going to bail. So,
no, whales are pretty much whales are going to spend, right? And it's less about player retention because look, people quit and start mobile games all the time. It's about engagement. It's about how many people are spending how much time in your game. You can lose 500,000 people today, and you could pick up 500,000 tomorrow, right? That's just the nature of mobile games. And what they can't have is the bad publicity, and they can't have the bad ratings because that's what drives away new players.
Yeah, I was going to get into that in a second, but yeah, that feeds into the player base issue. I think if you lose a huge portion of your player base and it keeps dropping, then eventually, like, what are whales' goals? Like, what are their goals?
Well, they want to
lord over people. They want, they have to have people to be the best of.
But you're assuming you're making an assumption that new players aren't starting, and that you're not going to get new people spending.
No. I'm taking that into account. I'm saying, so if the player base drops, that includes with new people coming in, because if that starts going down as well, then you have a really bad situation. You have basically your population dropping, new players not coming in as often because of things like the ratings in the App Store and things like that. You're going to have engagement time go down because overall engagement is being lower because there's not as many people in the game, and you're going to have spending go down. Whales always fund this game, but if there's not enough players, they die. So if you don't have the player base there and it's dropping dramatically, that is a red warning sign for investors and the company itself to say, holy cow, something needs to change.
Right. I agree with that. But mobile games, it's easier. It's actually easier to pick up a new player than it is to keep a current player. Because
I would like to see statistics on that, but either way, the problem is that they're affecting both.
New players have no preconceptions, right? So you and I have been here since global launch and me in beta. We've been through the changes and the kerfluffles and, Gold Gate, Nightly Gate, the Polygon articles, the just the mass disenfranchisement of the player base. We are still here. Right now, I don't know if we didn't do this podcast. I don't know if I'd still be here or not.
That's the same thing. I probably wouldn't be here if we weren't doing the podcast. So
look at all these people. Look at all these people right now in listening to us live. Right. Look at all the engagement that we get on our Discord. Look at all the downloads that we get. These people have stuck around through a lot of really bad stuff. The most of the people that you're probably going to see quitting are going to be free to play players that were probably on the edge anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take, to keep a player, you have to keep them engaged. You have to keep them with content, et cetera, et cetera. New players don't have the history that we have with this game to know where it was versus where it is now. And sure, they'll reach a point where they see these problems, but by then they've probably already dug into their wallets, at least for a little bit.
The difference is, though, is that's what I'm saying, is that it's being attacked on both fronts. So if we see players drop off on both fronts, you have a massive issue. As a game developing company, if you have people who have been playing are dropping off quickly and new player acquisition is also dropping off at a particular rate, which I would assume would be based off of if we continue to bomb their app rating, then you're going to have a problem, because if your player base isn't growing and it's actively decreasing, then there's no signs that this game is going to continue to be successful.
No, I would agree with that. I think the problem is that we're neither one of us have any data to back up what we're saying. We don't know that,
that's why I said it's all speculative.
It's all speculative, right?
Metrics.
Right. So, we are playing guessing games on both our arguments, on what could or could not happen, because honestly neither one of us really know, and we will never know, sadly.
I mean, I wish that we could find out these things, but we're kind of left up to our own devices on this.
But I'd like to move on, if that's okay with you. We've still got a lot to get through tonight. So I did say we were going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and here's the ugly part of Red Stars, right? Double frickin' RNG nightmare. It's absolutely ridiculous that anybody ever thought that this was a good idea. So somebody did a really great comparison. It may have been posted in our Discord about two Black Widows, basically identical, same gear, same stars roughly, but one got lucky and got a red orb, and so that player is now better because he got lucky. I mean, it's stupid. It's a stupid way to run the game. It's a stupid way to restrict farming, basically, because if you get a 6-star, 6 red star character, you're probably going to work on them just because of how powerful they're going to be. It doesn't matter who they are. You could take a monstrosity to 6 red star, and he's probably going to dominate arena if nobody else has a 6 red stars to combat him. It's dumb. It completely invalidates all the farming everybody has done since they started playing this game. All the work you have put into all your characters is now completely invalidated because
unless you get lucky.
Well, right, but it still invalidates your farming because you didn't know. You didn't know you were going to get lucky. It doesn't
invalidate it because if you get a drop on, if you get a 7-star drop on Captain America, who you have 7 stars on, congratulations, your farming for Captain America was validated.
Do you know what the chances are of doing that?
Of what?
Getting a 7-star. Getting a 7-star.
That's why I said you have to be,
right.
Yeah, that's why I said you have to be lucky. But it is validated if you are lucky, because you still have to have that character up to 7 stars as well in order to do so.
luck should never be a metric that is used to validate or invalidate something. Because
Obviously,
it's
I
not something
agree.
it's not something that you can plan for, right?
Yeah.
My farming of the defenders early on was validated when they buffed the defenders. People's farming of Kree will be validated not just for Fury, but when they buff the Kree, right? Those are things that you can call validated. You can't say, oh hey, I got this slot machine pulled up all sevens. I now validated dropping $1 in there. No, you got lucky. There's a difference.
Well, there's a lot of difference between the effort to get $1 and an effort to get someone to 7 stars. That's why I said you're only validated.
We gotta work on your ability to draw comparisons, man. But
either way, I think that what I'm saying is that all of the effort that you put into your characters, the only time whenever it is validated that you put effort into a character is if you are lucky enough to get a drop on that character. That is absolutely irrefutable.
Okay, that's fine. So my thing is that unless you get lucky, all the work that you've put in has been worthless, because
I'm agreeing.
Your like my defenders, right? My defenders for the past 3 weeks have held sub 200 in arena. In the past 24 hours, I'm lucky to hold 300 right now. And I'm probably just going to keep dropping because people got lucky with a couple of red star orbs, and now all of a sudden their 5-star bullseye is able to one-shot my 7-3 Luke Cage. And it's just, it's ridiculously stupid. So it invalidated my farming. Your luck invalidated my farming.
I'm lucky what? Sorry, I missed that.
Their luck invalidated my farming. I put in effort to have what is a meta team to just have it completely invalidated by some random squad because they happen to get lucky with a few red stars.
Yes.
They didn't really have to do anything. That's what pisses me off. They didn't really have to do anything.
Yeah. So that's one of the keys here, is that the only time whenever your effort is validated, because this is part of the problem, is that the only time whenever your effort is validated is only if you are lucky enough to have something drop on a character that you have farmed.
Right.
Because if it's not, then your effort is totally invalidated. All of your effort is totally invalidated. That's the big problem. Is that you have lucky in order for a red star to land on a character that you have farmed up in order to show any worth of your account as of right now.
Right.
Really.
I mean, it's just such a stupid system.
And then let's talk about why real quick. Sorry, I was gonna go. You can go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the last real ugly thing for me is it's another alliance implosion day, because if you didn't get lucky, your alliance is going to drop you, because they can probably find somebody else that can now clear Ultima 6. And the other bad part is you're going to lose people out of your alliance, or you have lost people out of your alliance. We've lost 1, possibly 2 out of ours. And it was all really around this. And because people are just so fed up that they've just given up, and it's just ugh.
So I'm gonna go through the list here real quick, and that's one of them. So for me, as far as alliances are concerned, you're gonna have problems on several fronts. You're gonna have people that got really lucky, and now they're incredibly powerful. And congratulations, you've been playing since launch, and you have a monster team that you've also spent lots of money on. This person just got a 7-star Quake 1,000 something character. She's going to be put up in a much better alliance than you could ever get into. So congratulations.
And your CP is going to be, your CP, your total team power will be 130K, and that's 70K of that's Quake.
Exactly. And so, that's part of the problem. So those people that were very lucky are able to be easily accepted into top alliances. So you're going to have people leaving on the top end. You're going to have people leaving on the bottom end potentially for several reasons. Either A, they didn't have good luck and they want to quit the game now because they feel invalidated, which totally makes sense. Or the rest of your alliance got a decent amount of drops that the average power of your alliance is now far above what you are, and now you're going to be kicked if you're in a competitive alliance. And if the more competitive of an alliance you have, the more these margins narrow of what's going to be allowed. But so that's alliances. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite on it isn't going to be quite on the level of what happened with Deadpool, but it's going to definitely be a problem. It's going to be taking people from both ends and people who also just don't want to play anymore because of what happened. On top of that, then we have Blitz, which is going to totally lopside your teams if you manage to land one on a team that you have, and now you have a 70K character mixed with 30K characters. That sucks. Sorry. You can't use that team anymore. That defenders team that you work so hard for? Yeah, too bad, because you have to level them up anyways if you ever want to click on your character again. Not to mention also, you're going to see a lot higher scores in the Blitz as well. So imagine being a new player coming in after 30 days, being mixed with everyone else and seeing that wall in front of you. So that'll be pretty interesting. I'm curious to see just how much it will change. I don't think it'll change like a crazy amount, but it will certainly increase now that a lot of people have these absurd power levels, especially on the top end. Obviously, the higher up you go, the more you'll see. I think on the very top end, like top 10, you're going to be seeing some crazy numbers now.
Yeah, you're going to see some absolutely crazy numbers.
Yeah, on arena, it's a joke now. Whoever got lucky is going to be dominating your arena. Too bad. I was sitting in top 50. Now I can't get past top 150. Not too much of a problem. Like I don't care that much as far as the downgrade in the cores. I wish it wasn't the case, but there's a lot of other people that got screwed a lot more than me. There's a lot of people that didn't get screwed quite as much as me, but either way, it definitely infected arena. So that's a problem. And then I think with raids, what we're going to see now is, yay, this looks good. We can complete these things. But as I mentioned earlier, whenever content is released later on down the road, I think that it's going to skew the perceived power level by the devs or allow them to pass off higher, more challenging content to a degree that's ridiculous, because I think that they're going to see the perceived power level as, well, you have the potential to get to this, so this is what it should be. And you're going to have, regardless, even if they pick the average, once you include red stars, it wildly skews things. So you're going to have people that have been working an incredibly long time that just really aren't lucky. I'll probably be one of them. And I'm not going to be able to compete with a lot of other people for future content because they just got lucky a lot more often than me. So even on a minority scale, it's still bad for people that just really never get any luck. And on the top end, even if they choose the average, then you're going to have people clearing it super easy, which also is a problem. So it's so many different issues that I don't know why. And the biggest thing about this, like the most important thing to remember, is that this was something that broke the game that literally no one wanted. No one asked for it, and they actively said, do not put it in the game. And probably the biggest feedback response I've ever seen in my life in a game. So it shows just this company's value. And I'm sorry to be so negative in this, but like you had to have known this was coming. But I think it really shows the values of this company and what's really going on behind the scenes. Because I mean, even as many other people did, even Dorian, like we were begging them not to release this and rethink this. We had so many other ways that this could have been implemented to soften the impact that this would have had. And straight up just better ways to do it. Not only just soften the impact at the beginning, but just better ways all around to do it. And these are two people who are not sitting in a room with 50 others that literally have to think about this all day. Like these are some casual ideas. Muggin came up with a really great one. which I really liked, which was basically you apply it to a trait. So, you get a red star drop, three red stars for any tech character, right? That way you apply it to a tech character, or, you apply it to, you get a drop for, I don't know how specific they want to go, but even if it was something more broad, like a villain or something like that, you can apply it to a villain. At least there you get some order within the chaos. You get these random ass drops, but at least you can choose who to apply it to a certain degree. So it doesn't always invalidate everything that you put in your time and effort to. Because now, literally, as I said, word for word to FoxNext and their development team, that red stars will dictate who you level up from now on. If you get a 7-star drop on a character that you have never touched in your life, that's a monstrosity, you bet your ass I'm leveling up that character. Because that character's power potential is now exponentially higher than any power potential of any non-red starred character that I have. And as we know from the statistics that we've seen, actually worked up by Avenue Assassin, thank you very much, he's our numbers guru, it's like I remember I saw the number, it's like 0.0005% chance to land on a particular character with a 7 red star, to land on any particular character with a 7 red star. Something like that. So yeah, it's just, the numbers are crazy. The statistics are awful. Everything points to this being a terrible system. This has been a very long time that I've been talking. Is anyone even still there?
Oh, I'm still here. I'm sorry. I was alpha rating.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
I think one thing they could have done to make it
real
better.
Quick, let me just finish this real quick. The elite red stars, that was another thing Avenue Assassin just brought up. That will change things a little bit because it guarantees a 4-star minimum, I believe. But I didn't even realize this until today. But it cost 5,000 fragments to get instead of 2,000 fragments to get, which is a giant slap in the face. Anyways, continue.
Well, what I was going to say, I think one thing they could have done to really, really, really mitigate this release would have been to block and I thought this was the way it was going to work. And originally, I suspect this is how it was going to work, and somebody changed their mind, and it was just really stupid. They should have capped the red star orbs at like 3 stars. And said the red star orbs are 3 stars. That's it. And if you want 4 to 7, you got to get the elite red star. And I think that had they gone that route, this would have been a much softer impact to launch, and it would have allowed for a better power curve increase, because the whales could have whaled out, right, and bought up a whole bunch of red star orbs and got duplicates to get the elite red star orbs. Hell, even let them buy the elite red star orbs. I don't care. But make the free stuff you give everybody be more in line with a power curve, right? If you don't have a power curve growth in these games, you've got nothing. And I've talked about this at length in the past, but I think that would have minimized any potential damage that this would have caused. Give everybody a max 3-star. And that's fine. Make it 1 star is the 75% chance. The 2-star is a 15% chance, and whatever. 3 stars a 5% chance. Whatever. I'm not doing the math in my head. But make it so that it's more in line with where you really wanted this to be. Because I don't think they wanted a 7-star shield security running loose in Arena or in Blitz or anywhere else. Because holy crap, the dude's already the greatest character in the game under Fury, and now you're going to throw a 7 red star on top of him? That guy's unbeatable. So it's I think that they could have minimized this problem by just having that one simple fix. That one simple thing would have changed the entire conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that would have been fine. I also think that, just as a general thing, if they would have just made it not able to be used in, like, it would just take off the red stars whenever you're doing anything like PvP related. So Blitz and Arena, it would just take off the red stars basically, and you would just be using it for raids. I would be fine with that too.
That really kind of that to me invalidates the whole that invalidates Red Star. I mean, yeah, sure, you get the power gain. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm trying to give them a little benefit of the doubt. Look, I think it's a stupid system the way they implemented it. Right. Mm-hmm. First of all, the double RNG. You know, the fact that you know, you can get a 7-star out of a basic orb. Like, come on. But I would not. I think they are PvP viable, just like Stark Tech, right? Stark Tech was a good rollout. I mean, it. You know, sure there was some blitz issues, but all in all,
done properly though. Stark Tech anything like that,
right? Stark Tech has been done, in my opinion. Stark Tech has been done really well, and I don't think we've talked about that enough. That other than the blitz issue, once it was kind of fixed in blitz, and even then, I mean, it just adds more of a challenge to me, but. That's an example of a good rollout of a new feature. That was we were so afraid of Red Star I got those things on the brain. We were so afraid of Stark Tech, and it was going to be like mods, and it was going to do this or that, and it actually has turned into a rather nice little system. And your alliance working together really kind of determines how far you get.
Yeah, no, that was the way that they implemented Stark Tech was masterful. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but I was also like, because I remember Chewy was on at the time. You guys were both really upset because you guys thought it was going to be mods. And I was like, I don't know what's going to be, but let's reserve judgment. And then it ended up being incredibly good. I have never seen mods, though. I've never screwed around with them in Star Wars, though. So I'm probably not jaded because of it.
Yeah,
you guys were it sounded like you guys were traumatized from it, the way that you were talking about it.
It was pretty bad. Then they just added slicing in here recently, and it got worse. So now it's actually kind of a luck based system. So you get these mods, and they have certain stats on the mods that you can apply to characters, but you can slice them up, and one of these stats will randomly upgrade. Ugh.
Yeah, anyway. See, random just doesn't work. But yeah, right. So like, if I wish that they would have implemented it better, but that's the thing, is that this is based on RNG, and that's the crux of the issue, is that it's based off RNG. And you know, whenever you're doing something that's, you know, RNG on top of RNG, it's a huge problem. So one other good thing though, as Avenue mentioned in our chat, he did mention that the gold was free, or that there was no gold cost to upgrade them.
That was really good.
That was good, but it's, you know, it doesn't fix anything at all. This was just the bottom line is that this was just something that we didn't want, that the game certainly didn't need, especially not right now. And we got it anyways, and it basically a dumpster fire now. So
yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad. FoxNext is sitting in a room on fire going, this is fine.
I love that meme. That's my favorite meme out of all memes.
That is really good. That actually hangs on the wall in one of our pods at work. So I kind of feel like we've beat Red Stars to death. They suck. We all know they suck. They've got some good qualities. They've got major issues they've got to fix though. Yeah. And I think that's really kind of what it boils down to. Would you agree with that?
They have very, very few good qualities in comparison to an incredibly large amount of game breaking problems. But yeah.
So today, shortly before we started recording, they dropped devblog 8 on us. And I don't know how to feel about this before we dive into the devblog. I'm not sure how I feel about this because, I don't care. We were told there were going to be 2 devblogs this week. One was going to be a Q&A, and then there was going to be another blog. And I think this was going to be the blog. And I think they were waiting for approval to release this one, but we were supposed to have a Q&A today. And I think the backlash they got from Red Stars ruined that. And I think that they dropped this dev blog intentionally to try to counter some of the negative feedback, because there's actually some exciting stuff in here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this is trying to whitewash Red Stars. That they're trying to just kind of they're trying to go, yeah, we know you're upset about that, because they talk about Red Star like at the very end, even though it's like the thing the community is upset about the most. It's talked to very, very minorly. And as you and I talked in our pre-show, really suspect this is so that next week they can come out and go, see, look, it's not that bad.
Yeah, they're just trying to create distance in between them actually having to communicate something back to us, and when Red Star's launched. So I think that's the key here. They're just trying to distract us with a nice new shiny toy, and give themselves some time to figure out what's going on and let us cool down.
Yep. Well, 3 or 4 new shiny toys, as it turns out. So let's kind of dive into this dev blog. The battle for Earth continues as Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants take their revenge on Ultimus. Slash and burn your way through the Sabretooth and Pyro event campaigns when they arrive in January. Your yawn tells me how excited you are about that. I mean,
you heard that yawn?
Oh yeah, dude. I've got you set up really clear. So, how do you feel about the Sabretooth and Pyro event campaigns coming after the Magneto event?
Magneto he's a really good. I'm sorry, not Magneto, but the Brotherhood team is a really good team on offense.
Yeah, they're a very good one-trick pony.
They are, like, you can counter them far easier than you can counter Fury or anything like that. They're not the best on defense. They're still pretty good on defense though. But on offense, they're very good, but they're not up to the level of Fury, and it especially makes it worse because they're not anything spectacular in raids. You don't have the healing factor that you have with Defenders and Fury. So overall, it's just not as good of a team. But that being said, I welcome the events coming for them because I do have the Brotherhood team. They're at about 24-ish K right now each. So they're getting up there. I'm kicking myself already just because I should be saving up everything that I have, especially since I'm not spending any more for Fury, so I can level up my shield team. But I'm not. I can't stop leveling up Brotherhood because I want so badly to make what I did pay off.
Did you unlock Magneto?
Yeah, I unlocked him.
Okay, congratulations on that.
I got top 1500 on, and ended up getting. We talked about.
You set alarms for that too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I ended up getting 3.9 million.
I don't think alarms for it. You and I didn't talk about that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we spoke about it on the show. I'm not saying we spoke about it on the show. I think that you asked me about it.
Oh, like I'm talking about on the show. I don't remember. Dude, I'm lucky to remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
But anyways, yeah. So I did unlock him, and I set alarms and everything. I ended up getting a lot more than I needed, but whatever. It's done. I kind of traumatized by Blitz right now because of all of the alarms and everything that I sent, and I only gave myself like a block of 4 hours whenever I was sleeping instead of 2 hours. So I had to wake up during my sleep and everything to do it. It was terrible. But anyways, yeah, so I want their events to come because I want to make what I did worth it, I suppose. But I'm not like super excited about it, I guess.
Right.
Just because I already have Pyro up. I feel like Blitz events, character events are the better way to do it overall because I feel more excited with a character event than I do with a Blitz, opening for a character. That's just not fun anymore. But yeah, so it is what it is. Like, they're coming. I'm glad. I'm going to be very glad to get my hands on Sabretooth. That'll be nice. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Plus, I got a 2-star red drop for Sabretooth. So.
Oh, that's awesome! That. Congrats.
Yeah.
So okay. As the interdimensional war wages on, Strike will venture behind enemy lines to enter a new domain and counter a new version of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Miles Morales, who appears in the upcoming Spider-Man Miles event campaign, introduces a brand new character trait, Spider-Verse. The Spider-Verse trait will be applied to existing characters, Venom and the original Spider-Man, as well as 3 new characters. What do you think of that? Are you happy they're going to be retroactively applying these traits, or?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I think that they're going to be doing this kind of stuff for characters that come out, and they have like 1 or 2 of them already in the game, and then they do a big event for that subsect of character. So I'm fine with them doing that. I didn't have an issue with mutants. I'm not going to have an issue with this.
I hate Fury.
What about you?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I hate Blitz now with Red Star Auras because you don't know if the team you're going up against has red stars. You're just going based off of total team power. And frickin' Fury is just, I was 30K higher than him and I was getting crushed. I'm about to Irish this thing. I'm kind of excited for it. I'm gonna try to go see the movie with my son. He's a huge Miles Morales fan. Miles Morales is really good favorite. Reviews. Miles Morales was his favorite Spider-Man, so it's something I want to try to do for him. Don't know if we're gonna be able to go this weekend or not, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see a new Spider-Man. And so yeah, and the new characters coming in. Yeah, we'll talk about one of the villains. I'm like, nah, but meh, okay. So Spider-Man Miles focuses on stealth and deploys a variety of negative status effects to his adversaries with his electrified webs. I'm not a fan of that. He has a high chance to dodge when stealth, making him extremely difficult to hit, and can clear positive status effects from his enemies with his basic ability. So, I'm getting really tired of negative status effects, man. Honestly, it's all this game. It's all this game's becoming right now. And there's no debuffers. There's no cleansers. You've got Jessica, and that's really it. This is getting ridiculous.
I feel like there's another one, but yeah, Jessica's
not as effective.
Most prominent one.
Not as effective.
Yeah,
I mean you
Jessica for sure is the queen of
Scientist Supreme. I guess maybe we'll flip them if you're lucky. But jeez,
yeah,
I'm getting so tired of negative status effects.
Yeah, it's I think they're becoming too reliant on them as interesting features to a character by applying 1,000 debuffs on this character. Like, it's I hope that they kind of get out of that trend a little bit and find better ways to get more interesting.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. Also, just real quick, I believe the new Spider-Man movie comes out on the 14th, right?
I think it's out now. I thought I thought it came out this week. Did it come out next week?
I think it comes out next week.
Oh, I thought it was out. I thought it was out now. My bad. Okay.
I wish it was.
Dude, Red Stars has me all over the place, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Miles come in. I can't wait to see his suit. If he even stands one bit like the current Spider-Man, I'm gonna be pissed. He better.
Why? What's the difference between them? I genuinely don't know. So what's?
Well, so Miles Morales is a teenage kid versus Peter Parker, who is is like mid-20. Well, depending on what version of Peter Parker. So he's either a white teen, or they also have different suits. They do kind of some different things. Miles doesn't have web shooters per se. His is more like they were mentioning here, the electrical. So what I'm talking about though more is that I don't want to see the same model used for both with just a new skin. That's what I'm trying to say. That's kind of the point where I'm really getting to, is I don't want to see the current Spider-Man with the Miles Morales version of the suit. I see a lot of them. I'm starting to see them reuse their models a bit. It just kind of changed the skin tone. And it's
I haven't really paid attention to that too much. I'm probably gonna go look now to see.
Look at Hulk. Look at Monstrosity. Look at Venom. Okay.
Yeah, I know that one. I've seen that.
And I think I think some of the female characters kind of use the same stances as well. I don't remember exactly, but I've noticed it a few times. So
yeah.
But so the next Spider-Verse character is Green Goblin, a brutal incarnation of the classic Spidey nemesis. Green Goblin is a blaster class who uses explosive pumpkin bombs to inflict area damage to his enemies. He easily tracks down stealth targets and synergizes with other Spider-Verse characters to remove positive status effects from the opposing team. The combination of abilities make him especially effective against shield teams. Oof. So what, Magneto didn't do it for you? I went through and I was called out for this, and that's fine. I was wrong. I thought that they had said that Magneto was going to be the Fury killer. I couldn't find anybody anywhere from FoxNext ever saying that. So I'll have to retract that. So it's entirely possible it was, content creators, leaks, speculation that really kind of, fed that, and it just kind of blossomed. Here they're specifically saying Green Goblin will be especially effective against shield teams. He's got to have the speed though. If he doesn't have the speed, he won't be. That's the problem.
Yeah. I'm assuming they, this is terrible to assume that they ever play test anything, but I'm assuming that if they say that it's going to be particularly good against shield, I would hope that is true. And if not, then we have a very big problem on our hands. Because if they're confident enough to say that, then it better be true.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they run simulations. Whether they actually sit down and play it or give it to a large enough player base to break it, that's another question entirely.
Like some kind of
if only we had
test account or something. I mean,
test servers. Oof, what a novel concept. I've probably disqualified myself from ever having a test server at this point. It makes me a little sad. That's fine, but I've been promised a test server account for 6 months now, and it never materialized. So,
they just don't open it. They haven't opened it back up yet. But yeah.
Well, no, the servers aren't working. I'm sorry. This may not be public knowledge, but the test server is broken. We don't know why it's broken. Nobody can access the test server.
Supposedly it's broken. But yeah,
nobody has test server access.
Anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
No, even the people that had it previously don't have it now.
Right.
So yeah, it's not that new people aren't being added; it's that nobody has any access. So yeah. Green Goblin. So I've been listening to your cheat episodes. And
I told you it's not cheating if I tell you.
It's still cheating, man. You guys were talking about, and I'm going to give you props, man. You nailed it. You nailed the 3 new characters. Congratulations.
Yeah, I did.
You did throw Doc Ock in there, and that's fine. I'll give you that one because I would have loved to have seen Doc Ock come in. But you asked in there what people see in the Green Goblin. He was a kind of a scary villain when you're a kid. He was this kind of goblinish guy that just flew around throwing pumpkin bombs. He was maniacal. I mean, so he was a good counter to Spider-Man.
I think I just have that image of him in the first Spider-Man movie, and don't get me wrong.
Are we talking the Tobey Maguire one?
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, no, I liked the movie.
I was gonna say Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe was a great Green Goblin.
Yeah, no, he was. I just don't like the villain. He's just not threatening enough to me. I think that I look at Venom and I look at Carnage and I'm like, oh, they're crazy killers. They're monsters. With him, he's a psycho, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not impressed.
Bombs.
I suppose.
Pumpkin
bomb. Ooh, I got pumpkin bombs. This doesn't even sound scary. I got a pumpkin bomb.
You have
it's not as scary as I'm gonna eat your face off. That's more scary to me. So I don't know. It's obviously subjective.
Green Goblin is a villain from a different time when there is
I think
there is a different perception of things. We didn't growing up there was no Saw. The scariest movies out for us were Friday the 13th and, The Exorcist. Oof, The Exorcist. Poltergeist. More jump scare than gore scare. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to have that now for a more desensitized generation.
I think that, let me give you a good example of something, because I think that this is one of the best executed real person psycho with the power villains I've seen so far in Marvel. Kilgrave in Jessica Jones was that had me legitimately freaked out, because I mean obviously the power is very strong, but the way he used it and his acting of it and everything was so good. I was
also because it was
legitimately
David Tennant.
scared.
David Tennant's a fantastic
I don't know him
actor.
from anything else, but yeah, he did.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? Are you kidding?
You gasped like a Southern belle on that.
I'm literally holding my hands in my head in my hands right now. Oh my God, man.
Wait. I might have seen him in other things.
He was in Harry Potter. He was Barty Crouch Jr.
Who was he in Harry Potter?
He was Barty Crouch Jr. He was in the Goblet of Fire. He was Barty Crouch Jr., the former Death Eater.
Right.
Okay.
He was meh in that. He was
Doctor Who.
I've never seen Doctor Who. But now that you mention it, I think I remember seeing a commercial with him being Doctor Who. But yeah, I never watched it. I think he's also in some detective show or something like that as well. That I don't.
Grace Point. Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was called Grace Point. He also, if anybody here watches cartoons, because I do, he's also the voice of Scrooge McDuck in the new DuckTales.
I watched the old DuckTales. I have not watched any of the new ones. I didn't even know that.
You're missing out, man. The new ones are amazingly good. I'm sad that I don't have cable anymore because I can't see them because Disney doesn't stream them anywhere.
Yeah.
But man, I gotta move on.
Yeah.
So the third new
character.
Man, the third new Spider-Verse character is Carnage, who rounds out the team as a vicious brawler and is slated to release in early 2019. Carnage uses razor-sharp appendages to make his enemies bleed, and does additional damage to targets with negative status effects. Bloodthirsty as he is, he acts more quickly when there is a heavily wounded character on the other team. Again, more negative effects. Can we be done with the negative effects? It's like it's the only thing they know how to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's one of those things that you kind of sign up for them. That's kind of like the most interesting thing, like status effects. Whenever you sign up for these kinds of games, but it would be interesting to see them kind of raise the bar a bit and try to find new ways to be creative with characters instead of just relying on, this guy gets 3 bleeds instead of 2, like, things like that.
And look,
lackluster.
I mean, obviously, it sounds interesting when you go bloodthirsty as is. He acts more quickly when there's a heavily wounded character on the other team. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that like he gets a speed bonus, based off of how much health he has left. And that'll be kind of cool. But you pair him with Venom, and he's now an amazingly strong character.
Yes.
Put him with Spider-Man to put defense down on people, and you're just gonna completely wreck. And look, that's great. Give us something new, right? That's not a reworked rehash of some team, and it's not something. I mean, you kind of have to have synergies, I guess, maybe with Spider-Verse, but it sounds like this is gonna kind of work with a whole bunch of different possible teams. So I hopefully it doesn't specifically call out other Spider-Verse. We'll see.
I think that like one of the things that I do like the most, and I think that is the easiest way to be unique and interesting in a game like this, is through the synergy, though. So I hope that they do have synergy. I hope that it's not Magneto synergy where it's just
right.
I'm this character that has all of this synergy with everyone else. You need me to make everything good. Like,
right.
That's dumb.
But I also wonder if that means that Spider-Man will get another rework for any Spider-Verse synergy.
I don't think so. I think that this is actually going to be more of actually maybe not, because I don't remember. I know that they've teamed up before. Like I know that Venom and Spider-Man has teamed up before to take out Carnage. I also know that Carnage in a particular arc has worked with Venom before as well. So I don't know who is going to get synergy in this, but either way, like I want more synergy, like what I saw with, I always bring this up, so I'm sorry if you're getting tired of it, but Thor and Captain America or Daredevil and Punisher, like I like things like that where you can piece them out into other groups and they're interesting, kind of more unique synergies where it, amps up the damage, has a cool animation in some cases, that kind of thing. I think that's the best way to be unique and spread out synergy with people that you can also involve in other groups to be creative creating, but being creative in making new teams together that kind of get specific jobs done.
So I gotta agree with Mizio from one of our patrons from chat, who says you always say Thor, but it's Iron Man and Captain America.
I do, and I don't know why.
I'm gonna now call you out on that every time.
Yeah, you should, because I don't know why I'm saying that. And I didn't even realize that before, but you're absolutely right. I am saying that, and I should not say that.
So Avenue says Avengers 2, and you're right. There is the Thor, Captain America, but in game it's Iron Man and Captain America. And I think you're talking in game, right? You're not talking like from the MCU. You're actually talking about
I'm talking in game.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
But I might be pulling that out of my mind somewhere, even though I blocked off most of that movie vision. Anyways, well, yeah, let's go ahead and keep going. I don't want that memory in my mind any longer than it needs to be.
The speechless episode. So together, the Spider-Verse team provides an aggressive quick strike team for Arena, Blitz, and the upcoming Alliance versus Alliance game mode War. War is coming in the beginning of 2019 and will match your alliance against another in an all-out battle between your helicarrier and theirs. Coordinate with your allies to place defenses in your helicarrier to defend vital structures such as the bridge and the reactor. Destroy helicarrier rooms and eliminate enemy squads for victory points to vanquish the enemy alliance. We'll have much more to say about War in upcoming blogs. If you're curious, go log into Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and get into a territory war battle.
We don't know that for sure.
Okay. If you really want to know, if you really want to know more about how this is going to work, go log into Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and launch a territory war when they're running. Except in here, they're going to run 24/7, 365.
So you really think it's going to be exactly like that, or?
I think it'll be very similar. I think it's going to be very similar. Look, this game originally was templated off of Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any question about that. And I think that War is going to mimic that. I mean, okay, so let me rephrase a few things here. Territory Wars is coming in the beginning of 2019 and will match your guild against another in an all-out battle between your territory and theirs. Coordinate with your allies to place defenses in your territories to defend vital structures, such as Territory 1 and Territory 2. Destroy your opponent's territories and eliminate their squads for victory points to vanquish the enemy guild. Mm-hmm. All I did was take out Marvel Strike Force terminology and I put in Star Wars terminology. Okay,
well, it's basically exactly
the same.
One versus the other.
Yes, and it's really gonna. I mean, so you don't have Galaxy of Heroes knowledge for territory wars,
no,
right?
I have no, that's not true. I've shown you my thing. I'm level,
that's right,
what, 70?
Yeah, something like that.
I've been around.
Did you participate when you were in our alliance? Did you participate in a territory war with us?
No, but you
got
the previous alliance that I was in. Maybe I did. Yeah, but in the previous alliance that I was in, we did territory wars, and I didn't think that they were that bad. I know a lot of people have problems with them, but I also wasn't in the same level of competitive play, not even close, in that game than I am in this game. In that game, I never even jumped on the Reddit once, for instance. Right, like I still didn't even know
some good stuff there.
Lots of things. Yeah, I still didn't even know lots of things about the game. Like even today, I don't even know lots of things about the games that is probably very apparent to someone that's much lower than me. I literally just went through the game as if it was a game on my phone. You know what I mean? And there's actually some beauty to that at the same time. But anyways, at the end of the day, all we know about this is that it's one alliance pit against another. You're right. That might be this is the way that they implement it. It would make sense. But I hope that they're going to be a little more inventive. But if they aren't, then I'm personally okay with that because it didn't bother me. Maybe I will reverse that decision once I mess around with it in this level of play.
So I kind of like territory war, and I feel that if they do it right, it'll be okay. My biggest problem right now is that they're adding yet another time suck.
Yeah.
Right? Look, when I play Galaxy of Heroes, I can do it in 15-minute chunks once every 6 hours, right? I don't have to be on it every 3 or 4 hours, which I have to be. If I want to be competitive, I have to be on it every 3 or 4 hours for multiple, 15, 20 minutes at a time or more.
You're leveling up aim. You are not competitive.
Apparently, people didn't realize. Apparently, people didn't realize I was being facetious, but that's fine.
No, you were not. You were actively leveling them up. I remember.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, like, in raids, if you want to participate in raids, you've got to be on so that you can do your nodes and you can, you don't waste that raid energy. If you want to blitz, you've got to be on. I mean, you have to be here every 2 to 4 hours. You have to be in this game for extended periods of time to do things. And it's just...
I agree with that.
We don't need another time suck. Please don't make this a time suck. That's all I ask.
I mean, it's going to add something. We know that it's going to add time into playing, period. So, like, we're not going to be able to get away from that. Hopefully, it's just a matter of, how long, and hopefully it won't be too terribly long.
Well, considering we've seen 12-hour Deadpool raids in the past, I'm not super hopeful. I
love those 12-hour Deadpool raids. Everyone in my alliance loves those or not the 12 ones, the 2-hour ones is what I was thinking. Sorry. But everyone in my alliance loved those 2-hour Deadpool raids. That's neither here nor there. But go ahead.
No. Anyway,
I know it was terrible for everyone else, and I completely understand why.
Is like your guild all on your college campus? Your alliance, I'm sorry. Is your alliance all in your college campus?
No, actually, no one is directly around me, but we are all mostly on the same. Actually, you know what? That's not true. We have about probably 10 people, probably 7 or 8 people that are in different time zones. Vastly different time zones, I should say, but they set alarms for it and everything like that. Like, we worked hard on it. We cleared it every single time except for the very first time. But I know that it's terrible for everyone
kids
else.
or very young people.
I'm not defending, and actually they were not and are not. But I'm the youngest person in that. But either way,
my wife would kill me. Kill me if I set an alarm to go off at 1 a.m. so that I could blitz. She'd be like, "Give me your fucking phone. You're done." Ooh, gotta bleep that, man. Give me your phone. You're done. You're not playing this ever again.
Yeah.
And if I sleep on the couch, that's a completely different story. So
that's why you go get a glass of water, quote unquote.
When your alarm goes off? Oh, I'm sorry.
When your alarm goes off, go up and get a glass of water and then play while you're in the kitchen.
The alarm should never have gone off to get a glass of water. Anyway.
My girlfriend is a deep sleeper, so I don't have to worry about that, I guess.
Yeah.
I just have it on vibrate, and I wake up from that, and I call it a day.
Oof. No, see, I'm the deep sleeper, and my wife hears everything. So, anyway, moving on. So what do you? I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know much. I mean, coming soon, TM. But
let me say this about the character, because I do Carnage. First of all, let me address Flip also. He said that's like saying you love red stars because you pulled all 7 stars. Screw everyone else.
He's absolutely right.
No. Because I said I know why it was terrible for everyone else, and I didn't want that.
No, I'm clapping for Flip. I'm clapping for Flip.
Why?
Because I think he called it out exactly. You can't complain about people going, "Hey, I love red stars. I got all 7 stars, man." I don't know why you guys had problems.
Wait, are you saying that people shouldn't love the fact that they got 7 red stars whenever they did?
No,
I would be super excited. Would you not?
Oh, would you then reevaluate the red star system and think it's absolutely awesome?
No, but that's my point. I didn't say that was absolutely awesome for Deadpool raids. I actively said, even whenever this happened and we did podcasts over it, I actively said, I understand that it was terrible for everyone else and it shouldn't have happened.
I think you're cutting hairs, man, and you like to draw this very literal line at times where you say something, but that's not literally what you said, so that's not what you said. but everybody knows what you meant, what you said, and it's just it's so frustrating at times.
I think I'm being as transparent as possible. I was excited whenever that happened, but I still understand what happened and why it was bad, and I don't think it should have happened. Nonetheless, in the reality, we had that happen, and we ended up doing well in it. I'm allowed to be happy with the fact that we did well in it, given the shitty circumstances. That being said, if I had gotten a 7 red star, I would be ridiculously happy. I would be upset that the fact that the system is implemented, but I would still be happy. I would expect you to be happy as well.
Flip gets it. It's all about semantics, man. It's all about semantics. All right.
It's definitely not about semantics. There is a distinct difference, but
are you are you looking forward to war?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to war. I want to see what happens with it. I've been waiting on it for a long time, and also Carnage, I'm really excited about. I want him to come out. I think he's one of the coolest Marvel villains, especially I like Venom for the same exact reasons. I still don't know 100% what the difference is between them, but they're both really cool. They seem to work pretty much the exact same. So yeah, I'm really pumped for him though. I like that villain type.
I'll leave that for you to do your own research.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
And then, as if Strike didn't have enough to worry about, the gateway to a deeper realm of the Dark Dimension is about to open. Fear the Darkness is a new level of difficulty within the Dark Dimension, and participation requires Gear Tier 13 characters. The currently available realm, Enter the Darkness, is substantially easier, than Fear the Darkness. With the high gear requirements and strong characters needed to make any progress, we expect it to be a long-term mission for players both to access and complete. Those who brave the perils of the Dark Dimension will collect the extremely powerful villain Ultron. Additionally, unique prizes will be awarded to those who conquer the mode first. That's all you, man. I could care less.
So yeah, with Dark Dimension, I mean, I'm still not done with my Dark Dimension. Hopefully I'll finish it up with Fury release. But it's okay that it's coming. I'm not prepped for it at all. I'm not particularly excited about it, but I think that lots of people that are ready for it, I guess, are probably excited about it. I do think that it's a little dumb to bring in something like this whenever Orange Gear still isn't really farmable. So I think it's too early to bring it in, but this has been always something
probably never going to be farmable, right? It's going to be locked behind a gold wall.
I think that whenever more campaign opens up later on, I don't think it's coming soon, but I think that whenever more campaign opens up later on, we'll be.
You and I both know that campaign is not on the roadmap at this point.
They said it's not coming anytime soon,
which means it's not on the roadmap at this point.
Well, I think they have a general idea of when they want to put
They have
it in.
completely walked back the Nexus campaign release. We were told it's not planned.
No, I don't. He didn't say that. I don't think so. I'll have to check back.
Go back and reread it. But that's again. You have to learn to quit taking things completely literally and understand the context of what is being said. We were asking when it's coming. It's not coming. There are no plans for it right now.
Wait, did he actually say that though?
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said. That was the impression I got off of it.
See, if I remember correctly, I think he said it's not coming anytime soon, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's not on the road, like it's not down the road, way down the road, but it just means that it's not coming soon. I think that they have a general idea of when they want to release it now. Obviously, things change, that being one of them, but I think that it's still going to eventually come out. It's just not anytime soon. So I think that it might be another 6 months or so before we see it, which is a very long time, but I think for sure it'll come out. I think that we're going to see more campaigns too.
Most of your roadmaps are I mean, depending on how they model their thing. Anyway, I'm okay. So all right. We're also launching a subscription feature in the new year. Subscriptions will roll out in phases, starting with new players on iOS, followed by those on Android, before eventually being available to everyone. A phased rollout is necessary to ensure that this new functionality is working as expected before it's available to all players. Subscriptions will provide a daily stream of resources at a discounted rate. I don't know how I feel about this one. How do you feel about this one?
They're bringing out to new players first. I think I don't know why this needs like testing, but they're doing it so that way it doesn't affect the competitive level, I guess. The iOS, bringing it out on iOS like first, I don't know why they're doing that as opposed to bringing it out on Android as well at the same time. But
it's probably easier to get the payments through Apple than it is through Google.
Maybe I have
That's
no
the only
idea
thing I
when
can
it
think
comes to
of.
that kind of stuff. That could very well be it. But yeah, I think I don't know why it needs testing because it shouldn't need testing, but I think that starting with newer players and bringing it up is I guess if they have to test it, that's probably the best way to do it, just because it doesn't affect anyone on a competitive level until they have whatever they want worked out. So I'm fine with that. I'm not a big fan of what I've seen so far from the system. If it really is just one refresh, I want to see the price before I make any final conclusions on it. But for one refresh in a game where most of the time I put in 10 rolls on a node and I get nothing, it doesn't excite me too much. No. I'd rather have cores. So we'll see what happens to that.
I'm with you. I know I was like, hey, cool, energy. You know what? If they give us 120 energy, it's like getting free 50 free cores a day. The more I thought about it, I'm just like, I'd rather have the cores.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the cores. So, we'll see. And it also depends on what they value the subscriptions at.
I think that's the big question mark right now. But I think we did the math on it last time, and it's probably going to be around like $4 or something like that. $4 or $5.
That's what we calculated it should be for the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not exciting enough for me. Like one refresh a day, like I said, whenever I'm mostly to the point where I'm not getting the things that I want whenever I roll on it. I don't know. It just doesn't. I would rather have something where I can decide what I want to do with a universal currency as opposed to
right. And that's kind of my comment
into that.
Yeah, Assassin in chat said he'd rather have energy. It saves spending the cores on energy. But I'd rather have a choice. Maybe I don't want to do the energy that day. Maybe I want to do something else. I want to because once you have that energy,
use it on a character event or something like that as well.
Right. Maybe I want to refresh a character event. Maybe I want to use maybe I want to buy character event energy. Maybe I want to buy blitz refreshes. I don't know why. Maybe I want to buy raid refreshes. Because I'm close to getting top one, or I want to buy orbs, right? I want to save up for a few days and buy a gold orb. You have more options when you have when you get the universal currency versus when you're given a very static, hey, here's the 120 free energy per day, because once you get that, you're not collecting your energy. You have to use it immediately because you're going to be capped. I'm at level 70. I got 128 energy. So if I get 120 free energy to start the day, I got to use it immediately. Otherwise, I'm not gaining energy throughout the day. So personally, I'd rather have the cores. Do with what I want. So I understand.
Yeah, and also
his comments. I understand, and I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying for me personally, I'd rather have the cores.
Yeah, I would say agree. I would rather have the cores, but also something that I also mentioned the first time whenever we went over this kind of stuff, I also want more than 50 cores. I want like 100 cores to make it worth it in my mind. So 50 cores for me isn't enough.
Yes.
I don't think, well, I definitely know now that I'm not going to do it because I'm not spending on the game anymore. But whenever I was, I don't think I was willing, unless it was something more like, if it was around like, 240 energy a day, then I would do that. If it was 100 cores a day or 150 cores a day, then I would certainly do that. But, it is what it is. I would have still, for the various reasons that you mentioned, I would have still taken it in cores. So,
yeah. I agree. I just rather have the cores because it gives you more options.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then sorry, I'm responding to text here. You're missing the point, Avenue. You don't have to now pay for one of those refreshes. It's basically a free refresh. We're not talking about when you get to the 100. So I see what you're saying. You're basically getting one more refresh out of the energy than you were if you get the 50 core. But I'm saying that you also lose the ability to choose what you want to do. So maybe I don't want to do an extra 120 energy. I'm trying to farm a specific node and I want to refresh it instead. So I understand your point, and you're right that if you got the free energy, you're basically getting an extra 50 core refresh. So instead of 450 core refreshes, you're getting 550 core refreshes is really what it boils down to. And you're absolutely right. In that respect, it is a better option. But for me, it's just I'd rather have the options myself. But
yeah, especially with me, I'm putting more into gold right now. Like the other day, I rolled a gold orb with my cores that I've been saving up. So I need gold more than anything else right now. So
right.
I like having the freedom to be able to do that if I want.
Yeah.
And trust me, I still haven't rolled anything good in these new gold orb yet. And now that I know that they're potentially temporary, I'm very upset because I'm not going to hit. I know that since they're not permanent now, and I don't have, like a year or 2 years to try to hit one. I'm definitely not going to get anything good. I'm not going to get 1 million pull or anything. 3 million pull rather. We'll see. Anyways, let's keep moving on.
Yep. So yesterday saw the release of Red Stars. We saw the community conversation / controversy around Red Stars and want to give it the attention it deserves. The questions we're seeing around Red Stars are important to us, but we still wanted to give you all a rundown of a few new developments we're excited about this week. You can expect a new blog post next week focused on Red Stars. This blog will cover the launch as well as answer concerns the community has had about Red Stars. Man, that feels like it. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, and you and I talked about, and I think you brought it up. You brought it up originally. Was they're trying to put distance between the launch and the answers to the launch. I really feel like they're when I see things like we see the community conversation around Red Stars and want to give it the attention it deserves. I really feel like they are, there's a word I'm looking for here, where they're kind of demeaning our feelings on the matter. They're saying that it wasn't really, it's not, you guys aren't really upset. You're having a conversation, right? They're changing the language to control the conversation. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of them waiting to answer any of the Red Star issues that are coming up. Because by that time, because look, if they were to make changes, it's easier to do it now than wait a week to do it. Because people are going to get used to the system and then they're going to be like, meh, whatever. Right? So, yeah. So Red Stars, it's a thing.
We've already talked about that. It's just just as you said. I think they're just trying to keep the distance between them. We'll see what happens.
Yep. So now we're going to move into our grab bag section, and we've got a few questions here. So I'm going to kind of go through these a little quick. We're going to take these kind of back and forth, and so I'll take the first one and give you the second one. So the first question is from The Reaping, and he's a former Alliance mate. And he said, now that Red Stars are released, would you rather hit an MSF VP in the throat or poke them in the eye? Neither. I'd rather sit down and talk to them and try to understand what the hell they were thinking. And then show them the errors of their ways. Squirrel Girl asks you specifically, with Red Stars being introduced and making the competitive nature of the game now entirely RNG luck, Are you leaning more towards standing in front of a train, or are you going to go the traditional route by running your car in a closed garage?
That's a good question, though. In front of a train, it's well, yeah, okay. If I want to have my ending be a metaphor for how I felt in this game, then I'd run into a train. I think that the route that I would go is probably in the garage, in the closed garage in the car. Take it that way, just fall asleep, and just have a dream that that this game was actually good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the way this game's going, you're not standing in front of a train because they're because you're sticking it out, man. You're taking the slow road. So even in the analogy of using the game, man, you're taking the slow road there too.
It was more of like last night I felt like everything just crumbled.
Oh, there were times I thought you were just gone. That you were like, I've had it. I mean, like you didn't respond. You were offline. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Dorian's gonna start out looking for another co-host.
It's partly because of Super Smash, but it was also because of I just like I was having a hard time opening the game, like 100%. Like I like doing my raids yesterday was terrible because I was just like, great, I'm doing these raids, and now there's like a billion people that have spent like a fraction of what I have. Not a billion people, obviously that's an exaggeration, but spent a fraction of what I have and played half as long that are now infinitely better than me. Like at this game, like I don't know, it's really defeating, like putting in all that effort and having people that have done not even near as much luck out, and everyone knows my luck is terrible in this game. But having people do not near as much be far better than you in this game, and have far better characters, have far better gear at this point, or not gear, but have a far better character than you, things like that.
But at the same time, people that do far less than you can still be far better even without Red Star, simply because they bought them, right? So they can throw cash at the game and get better than you.
Well, that's why I said people that have spent less than me too. Like,
okay, sorry if I missed that. I was reading ahead.
Been around less than me, yeah. And that's not just for me though. That's kind of in general in relation to people of your own free to play. There's free to play people that have been playing since launch that were just bypassed by people that have been playing half the time that are also free to play. Right? Yeah. There's people that are spenders out there that have just been bypassed by people who are also spending and who are also free to play that got lucky and bypassed you just, in the matter of minutes,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really disheartening just for all of your effort to feel totally invalidated. That's my thing. As I mentioned earlier, the only time whenever you will now feel that your effort is validated is if you are lucky enough, which is an incredibly small chance, if you are lucky enough that a 7-star, 6-star, 5-star, whatever lands on a character that you just happen to actually put work into.
Right.
That's the only time it'll pay off now. So
yeah,
that's what it feels like, at least. So
I agree. Dark asks, what lane is the best lane for my defenders in Alt 6? Team just hit our first 30% today. Congratulations. In your first time ever trying it. That's awesome, man. Congrats. So I'm going to take that one as a defenders player. So we do 60. I run my defenders. A lot of this is going to kind of depend on like your power level. I like to go straight up the middle to the very last node in the middle, and then hang a left and head towards Spider-Man. So when you do that, you get the first node is all mercs. The second node is it's pretty much all tanks. You get Winter Soldier, Cable, Drax, Hulk, Luke Cage, Kingpin, and then Ronan. So it's not horrible if you just power down. You do Winter Soldier, whatever, first. The one after that is it's a little bit more difficult. It's Doctor Strange, Scientist Supreme, Night Nurse, Hulk, Thor, Ravager, Healer, Vision, and then Shield Medic drops in. That one can be a little bit challenging, but my defender team with Miss Marvel or Punisher or Spider-Man will basically walk through those 3 nodes. The Spider-Man nodes where it gets a little hairy. You got to take another team in there first to kind of blow them up, and then your defenders can go in and walk through the rest. And then I turn north and go back around that way, because the one right up from that is a hand node. It's all hand. So you take Punisher in there with Miss Marvel. You leave Luke Cage out of it. That's right. You leave Luke Cage out of that team. You put Miss Marvel and Punisher in that team, and you can just kind of walk through that hand node. So I like going that route. I found it to be very, very beneficial. I could probably go maybe a little further if I went one of the easier routes, but you get more points going this one. So that's the route I like for my defenders. Sorry, that was really long. So, and then Hebrew, Pope Jesus Christ asks, Hebrew, if you could remove Vision or Red Stars, which would you do? You can only choose one. You can only choose one.
Okay, so this depends on something. Am I eliminating Vision from existence in not only this game, but in the Marvel Universe? Or am I just removing him from the game? Because if I remove him, if I have the ability to remove him from the Marvel Universe, yep, I'm removing Vision 100%.
Only from the game.
If it's only from the game, then I would have to pick Red Stars. But it would still be a very hard decision if I actually had that ability. I would be thinking on it for a bit, because my anger for Vision knows no bounds, but at the same time, I'm not going to let a Vision get 72k compared to any of my characters, sitting at 30 something,
What does
so
Vision
there's
get? Because somebody actually got a Vision, me.
That's disgusting. But I'm not going to be bypassed by a Vision. I won't let it happen. There's no way. So I would delete the Red Stars in the game. But if it was in the Marvel Universe, 100% Vision. Let him die.
There are no quote unquote Red Stars in the Marvel Universe, so you can't.
Yeah, I know. That's why if it was the choice between deleting him from the game or just deleting deleting him from the Marvel Universe or just deleting Red Stars from the game.
That's what I'm saying. You have to
Marvel
choose between
Universe.
Vision or Red Stars, and since Red Stars are only in the game, you have to limit Vision to only the game.
I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, no. You're working within the framework of the question.
That wasn't specified. I looked. I'm on the thing right now. It isn't specified.
But what I'm saying is that when you're comparing Vision and Red Stars only exist within the game, which means you have to limit Vision to within just the game.
Now, who's arguing semantics? Either way,
I'm arguing interpolation, right? Look, there are two types of people: those that can extrapolate from an incomplete set of data.
Yeah, and those who can't. I get it. I've heard this one thousands of times.
Yep, and you will continue to until it sinks in.
I already know it. Heard that 1,000. It's a very old dad joke. You need to get some new ones.
By the way, my Vision is a 4. Mm-hmm. He's a 4/2, level 65, tier 10, 6/4. His power is right under. His power is at 27k.
Yeah, so you're not bypassing me, so that's fine. But as I mentioned, though,
apparently you missed. He's only 4-star.
No, I know that. But I'm saying he's not bypassed any of my top end of my champions yet. So until that happens, I'm okay. But regardless, that's why I said if it's only within the confines of the game, then I would 100% just delete Red Stars.
36k power on a 5/4 Vision.
Hmm?
Look in chat. Thanks, Flip. Flip's my buddy, man. He's got my back tonight.
It still doesn't bypass my top character, though.
Yeah, but it's getting close.
It's getting close, but it's not there yet.
I promise you it's getting close. And again, it's only a 5/4. And that's only level 65, man. He hasn't even ranked him up to 70 yet.
Yeah, thank God.
So, all right. So, wait, what did I just do? Okay. All right. So then the last question is for both of us. And Ed Carden asks, today I 3-starred every campaign node I was missing. So now I'm ready for new campaign nodes. Would you rather they continue adding to the existing campaigns, or would you be more interested in new trait-based campaigns, like one for skill, bio, or mutant characters, for example? I'll let you answer that one first.
So for me, I would definitely want new campaigns. Personally, I think it's a little more fun to have that extra variation. And I think it's just something that makes sense, I guess. They've done these subsects before, so I would like to see them continue on with that. I want to see, like a mutants campaign and stuff like that. Like, I think that would be cool. So, and it would also give more of a reason for people to level up those characters. I kind of missed the days whenever I was trying to find a good cosmic team. I wanted to level up my cosmic team so I could go through the cosmic campaign. Like, that was cool to me. So
yeah, I actually agree 100% on that. I think that the trait-based campaigns would just be absolutely awesome.
And I want to see orange gear in them, obviously, too. We're getting to the point where we need to be able to be farming for orange gear. I assume that's going to be coming out more with like whenever we see Ult 7 come around. That's probably going to be.
I have a feeling we may see it as some rewards for high-end Alliance Wars.
I think that it's a definite possibility that we're going to see fragments, like a lot more fragments come out from them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
I really want what Star Wars does. Since Muggin brought it up the other day, I was talking about ways to get more gear in the game consistently,
right?
And I really like what Star Wars does, which is every single day it's a rotating system where they drop gear for tanks, and then they drop high level gear for
it's not high level gear.
It's not. Well, it was high level.
It's called challenge gear. I mean, yeah. Once you reach a certain point,
what would you equate it to? Purple gear.
Yeah.
Because I would still that would be incredibly useful still to me.
Because
I would assume that eventually they would bring that up to, once orange gear was definitely very farmable, I would assume that they would bring it up to that tier. I would hope so, at least. But for purple gear, I mean, you're talking about for what they do in Star Wars. It's not there.
Yeah. You only get the orange gear out of the heroic Sith, right?
Yeah, I would hope that they would do it for MSF is what I'm talking about. But either way, purple gear, like, I still farm, like, purple gear is unreliable or I should say farming purple gear is unreliable in the game currently. Like, all the time I hit nodes and I get 1 or 0. If I'm lucky,
the drop rates
2
are
pieces.
Atrocious.
Yeah, so I would like a more consistent method to get purple gear.
Yep.
Like, other than fragments, which drop me basically.
The problem is you want useful purple gear.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
All purple gear is useful.
Right, as I mentioned in the last episode, whenever you roll on the purple gear for the orbs from the raid store, you get 2 side pieces, which are basically useless. Like, I have mountains of them, and then I get a piece in the center, which is random, but at least it's consistently something I can use pretty much in some way. But I only get 5 stacks of whatever that is, so it doesn't happen enough. I would like something a little more consistent.
Right.
Anyways, let's go ahead or what about you?
Yeah.
Did you already say?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the trait campaigns would be pretty cool. I agree that having more ways of farming certain gear would be great. Orange gear would be awesome. More farms for ABCs and other bottleneck gear again would be great. So yeah, I think that would be a great thing, especially if the campaign storylines that currently are there finish off properly. Unless the story's done, don't keep adding to it.
Yeah, just for the sake of adding to it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's one thing I love about Strike Force over like Galaxy of Heroes. Galaxy of Heroes is just like, here's a node, here's the enemies, go. Whereas in Marvel Strike Force, there's that story behind it. There's a reason for it happening. It's not just oh hey look, we're just going to progressively make this harder because it's a hollow table or whatever. And I think that's something that they have done amazingly well.
Right.
So, but speaking of drop rates and campaigns and nodes and stuff, I know this is what everybody's been kind of waiting around for. So let us know, Hebrew, who you've been farming, man, or who are you farming?
I'm farming whoever my red stars go on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask, but
yeah. So yeah, I really am kind of right now, like I don't know what to do as far as farming. I'm still farming for Fury because that's the only thing I know as like a safe pick still, because at least I can get through Dark Dimension with it. But yeah, I'm honestly, I think I'm going to hold back on who I'm farming until I start getting more red stars so I know who to invest in. Because honestly, if I'm looking at this strategically, I'm probably going to see where my red stars fall. If and when I get my higher level red stars to drop, I'm going to see who I'm going to invest in, because you can't count on luck to hit the characters that you want. I would just kind of wait to see where the high ones drop and level up, I guess, the safe picks, which for me would be Fury. So that's the best I got. So I'm farming Fury still. So
yeah, I'm not playing this game for the luck. I'm following I'm continuing the path I was on. I'm still finishing up my defenders. I'm working on Kree. I told you earlier I should be able to get Fury the next time he comes out. I have like one or two characters I have two characters that need to get to 5-star, and then I'll be able to get Fury. In fact, a couple of my Kree got red stars, so yay that. Other than that, I hit Wasp every day. Oh, funny side story. I got Black Widow to 5 stars today. And actually, while you were talking earlier, I hit a premium orb and pulled another 16 shard. So Black Widow's like 26 of 200 now. Black Panther. So yeah, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and Wasp and Groot get daily farms. And then whatever's left at the end of the day, I go give to Kree.
Right.
And then Scarlet Witch out of the arena store.
Of course, yeah. Solid pick.
So that's where I'm at. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for the week. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, or anything we missed?
No, that's pretty much it, I guess. I want to go ahead and say, like, I don't think that this is the end of the game yet. I think that we're going to see lots of problems. I think we're going to see lots of people leaving. I think a lot of people feel really bad about the game and where it's at in general, but I'm kind of still hoping that things are going to get a little bit better with a lot of time. We're going to see red stars even out a little bit more as far as who they're dropping on and you getting them and everything like that, because it seems like we're going to be getting probably around, assuming that we keep getting the 10,000 fragments a week, it seems like we're probably going to be getting around maybe 7 orbs a week or so, something like that. So it's not the worst. You're still working with really, really terrible rates of getting something really good, but with a lot of time, it will even out. So we'll see what happens with it. Don't lose total faith yet. Just go ahead and we got to do what we can as a community and just show that we're not okay with what's not only just this, but what's been happening recently with the game. And yeah, I think as we mentioned earlier, just go in, rate the app at 1 star, and I would stop spending on the game. You got to vote with your dollar. So that's my take on it. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Well said. Well said. I can't add anything to that. So.
Yep. My words are poetry. What can I say?
Yeah. I guess we let you think that. So, we do want to thank you for listening to the Ravager Report. If you'd like to become part of our active and interactive community, you can do so at our Discord channel at https://discord.me/Ravager Report. Please remember that is a URL, not a Discord invite, so you'll need to put it into your browser. If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us at theravagerreport@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at RavagerRepo. If you like what you hear and would like to help support our show, you can join our patrons at patreon.com/Ravager Report, where we have subscription levels ranging from $2 to $20. We do want to send a great big thank you to all of our patrons and let you know that we appreciate your continued support. You can find us on iTunes and Podbean. We do ask that you leave us a review and rate us on iTunes, because that does affect our standings in the community. Other than that, until next week, keep fighting, true believers.